Hi everyone, welcome to the Morgan Homestead. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Sandy. And for those of you that are new to our channel and watching us, we've been thinking about homesteading for years, and just last December we sold our house in the cities. We moved out to the country and we're making a go of it. Last summer, we got chickens for the first time. Kevin built a greenhouse. We started hydroponic gardening, and we had a small garden. And we realized quickly at the end of the year that we're going to have to do a lot more gardening. So that's kind of where we're at today. We're doing garden planning. I know everyone's garden planning is going to be different, but it kind of brought up a few things in the process that we thought, if you're thinking of doing this, something you might want to think about ahead of time, and just some tips and tricks, and maybe you can give us some suggestions along the way of what we should be doing or focusing on, since we're new to all of this. So we'll kind of go through a little bit of our process of how we did it.
So yeah, what we ended up doing is we buy most of our seeds from Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds, and so we just went through there. We have what's called the whole seed catalog, and we ordered this from them online, and we just went through this. We kind of wrote down what types of vegetables we wanted to plant this year, and we just kind of went through here and decided which ones we were going to buy.
Yeah, it's kind of like you feel like a kid at Christmas time. We went through this one and we tabbed up everything that we want, and then we kind of went through our inventory of what we already have, and then we came up with a list of what we need to order. So yeah, our wish list. So then we ordered most of our seeds. Some of them were out of stock at Baker's Creek.
Yeah. So that's another thing, is this year it seems like things are selling out quickly on seeds. So we didn't get a few seeds that we wanted, but we did go to like Walmart and picked out some of those seeds and just bought them locally.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about Baker Creek is they're heirloom seeds, so that you can save the seeds and replant them and reuse them, and you're not going to get that from the seeds that you buy at Walmart or other stores, but you need to get your garden planted, so that's the main focus.
Yeah, our main goal is to grow food that we can eat within a year, so we just need to make sure we're planting enough that'll provide us food for the year.
Yeah, which brings me to something that when we sat down to do this, we looked at each other and we're like, well, how many potatoes do we need? Well, I don't know. How many potatoes do we eat in a year? Well, I don't know. I mean, if you've never really tracked that, you really don't know. And it's like, well, is 3 rows in the garden going to be enough? Well, I don't know. So if you're thinking about doing this, it might be something that you kind of start tracking. How many bags of potatoes do I buy at the grocery store? How much do we eat a year? I think having that knowledge going into this would be good. This year we're just kind of winging it again, and we're just going to keep records of everything we've done, and we'll just continue to adjust.
Yeah, I mean, all these lists that we've made, we'll keep these and we'll reference them next year again, and we'll decide what we want to grow again the following year and go from there. We do know we didn't plant enough potatoes. We knew that going into last year. It was our first year growing potatoes, so we just wanted to see how it would go, and this year we're planting quite a few more.
Yeah, and we planted only like a half of a raised bed of beets. Kevin's family's been trying to get me to eat beets for 30 years, and I've never liked beets, but this last year when we pulled some fresh beets out of the garden and we cooked them up in butter, I discovered that I absolutely love beets cooked that way. I just don't like them pickled.
Right.
So
yeah, most of the time we pickled the beets, and she didn't like the pickled beets, which I love the pickled beets.
Yeah.
But so this year we're planning on planting more beets than we did last year also, and can some of those without pickling them.
Yeah, so what we had to do then, after we decided what we wanted to plant, we had to just figure out where we're planting everything. So we got it separated out We've got some raised beds, we have outside beds, we have our greenhouse that has one bed inside of it. We have some large containers that we're growing out of. We're going to be doing hydroponic totes again, so we have to figure out what's going in the hydroponic totes. Then we have ground gardens, which we realized that last year we had a small ground garden. This year we need to expand, and we're going to need a lot more. We don't know if that's even going to be enough, but and then we discovered that even with that, expanding that, we're going to need to find another place to plant corn and maybe watermelon, because we don't want that to overtake our garden. So
yeah, that's one thing. We're going to plant a lot more corn this year as well. We planted a variety last year that grew pretty well, but we didn't care for the taste of it that much, so we are changing it to a different corn. Actually, peaches and cream is what we're going to be growing this year.
Yeah, we'll try that and see if we like that and if we're successful in our soil. We're in Minnesota, so our growing season is very short, which is why we built a greenhouse. We think we're going to end up probably next year needing to build another greenhouse, a larger greenhouse. It's just our weather is so unpredictable. I know some people can grow like lettuce in their greenhouse all winter long. We can't do that unless we heated it. Yeah, unless we heated it, which we don't have any electric out to our greenhouse right now, so that isn't a possibility for us right now. So we figured out what we were going to order. We placed an order. We picked up more seeds. We figured out what we're putting in each garden. Then we just kind of went row by row, and we kind of planned what is going in each row, how many rows we're going to use or need for each item. We wrote down all the spacing.
Yeah, I mean, so the garden we had last year was 15 by 35, and I'm talking, this is just the ground garden, and we plan on expanding that to 20 by 100, so more than double in size as far as length is concerned. So after we figured out that, we then figured out how many rows we'll be able to plant in that garden.
Yeah, and there was some things that we kind of had to cut back on because we don't think we have enough space or whatever. So, I mean, we already are thinking, in order to grow enough food for us and our family, his parents live here all summer too, so we're actually staying with them in their house right now, and so we want to make sure we have enough food for them as well. And so we don't know if this is going to be enough, but we're hoping that it is. So some of the seeds we saved out of because like I said, they're heirloom seeds from Baker Creek. So some of the seeds we saved in little containers like this. And also another thing I want to remind people, when you're planting this, remember to plant flowers. It's important to attract the pollinators into your garden. And so I plan on planting a lot of perennials and even annuals all around the garden and throughout the area to attract those pollinators in. So it's something to think about, and who doesn't love beautiful flowers?
So I'm going to go ahead. We do have an aerial shot of the property. It's an older aerial shot, but I can kind of show you where our existing ground garden is in that shot, and show you where we're expanding it to.
Another thing we have to keep in mind when we're planning where we're putting these gardens is how we're going to water them and how we're going to get water to them, whatever. So that's why we decided to expand on the current small garden, because it's right next to a water source. We have a large IBC tote out by our greenhouse, and that's what we're using to water that and the hydroponic garden. So right now, until we get another water source, we're kind of limited of where we can plant, unless we want to be hauling water all over our property. So that kind of factors into where we decide where our gardens are going to be and how big they're going to be right now too. So it's all a learning experience. We don't know until we try, right?
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you the aerial shot and where we're expanding the garden. Okay, so currently our current garden is right here. These are horseshoe pits. These horseshoe pits we'll be taking out. We'll be expanding the garden down this way. And then over in here, we're going to plant our corn and probably watermelon. This is where we're going to be building our house. Our future house is going to go over here. And then up in here is where, right up in here is where our greenhouse is right now.
Okay, so in our hydroponic garden last year we did a lot of peppers. We did green peppers, red pepper, jalapeno, banana peppers, habanada,
Cauliflower,
jalapeno peppers, which are jalapeno but not spicy. We did cauliflower, but it just, I mean, man, we got leaves, huge leaves, but we only ended up with 2 small little heads of cauliflower. So we decided to try that out in the ground garden this year. But one thing that was really successful in the hydroponic garden was the peppers. So we're going to go ahead and do banana peppers and jalapeno peppers and habanada. And then this year we're going to go with some lemon spice jalapeno peppers. So we're excited about that.
and some habanero.
And habanero, some red Savina habanero peppers. And then also I'm going to do spices again because that's really grows well in the hydroponic totes. So basil and cilantro, oregano, and we're going to try a lemon basil and a lime basil this year. So yeah, so those are the things that we're doing in the hydroponic totes. So excited about that.
Yeah, one thing last year we discovered we were putting a lot of water in the totes. So as the plant absorbed the water and the nutrients, we had to add water to those totes to continue growing them. So this year my plan is to come up with a little bit different solution for adding water to the totes. I'm going to get an IBC tote. I'm going to build a platform for it, and then I'm going to run piping down each side of the greenhouse and then tee it off into each tote, and then in each tote we'll have a float so that we can decide how much air pocket we want above the nutrients, below the plant itself, and then keep that water level at that level with that float.
Can you tell that he's an engineer? So anyway, and then in our other gardens, maybe we'll just give you a quick overview of what we're putting in raised bed and what we're putting in our ground gardens.
So currently right now we have 2 raised beds. I plan on building 6 more raised beds. And in those raised beds we'll be putting beets. Now what we're going to have 2 raised beds dedicated to beets. One raised bed for one kind of beet and one raised bed for another kind.
Yeah, I did a little video last year of the beets that we did grow, so we'll show you that right now. 2 different types of beets, so if you want to take a look. And then I just pulled the beets out of the bucket and put them out here on the screen to dry. These are a different type of beet. These are like a striped strawberry beet, I think they're called. I forget. I think that's what these 3 are. When you cut them open, they're striped. And then the rest of these are regular beets that we got out of the garden. Some smaller ones, I guess, we're going to use for canning. And we have eaten a few of these beets already, so this isn't the whole harvest. So this is our very first potato harvest. We just planted 1 raised bed, not even the whole bed was potatoes, but and this is what we got. So we're pretty happy with it. These are all sitting out to dry and cure for about a week. I think it's around 10-15 pounds of potatoes, so we realized that that's nowhere near enough for the year. Obviously we did much better on the red potatoes. Our russets, we didn't get too many, and they're mostly small, so we're going to quadruple probably the planting of potatoes next year. The outside garden had a good harvest of squash. So this is some of it. We have a couple inside. Some butternut squash. Good harvest there. So we will keep you updated on our harvest for our very first garden.
And another raised bed's going to be dedicated to just yellow onions, and also one for green onions. Then we're also going to do one raised bed with that's just all green and orange peppers. There's just one raised bed with just all different types of lettuces, and then one with spinach and kale as well. So last year we did do bell peppers in hydroponics, but the types of peppers we grew didn't grow very well. So this year we're not going to do them in hydroponics, and we are going to change to a different kind of pepper. But we are going to do green and orange. There's still a bell pepper.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they grew, the plants grew, but
Right.
our peppers were really small
And we didn't get many.
and just got a few. So we're not, and maybe we did it wrong. I don't know. Maybe we'll try again. But right now, we really want to produce more. So we're going to go ahead and try putting them out into the raised bed. So in our ground gardens, well, I should say garden, because we're taking the one and we're going to expand it. We're doing out there, we're going to do cukes and squash, green beans, tomatoes, zucchini, tomatillo, dill, peas, potatoes, cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, and all along one end we want to plant sunflowers, the really large sunflowers, so that our chickens can enjoy it. We'll add them to their feed, so that's the plan for that. And then, as we said, the corn we're going to have in a separate, we're going to create a separate area for that,
Yeah,
and the watermelon too.
Right, and watermelon.
Yeah, so then after we decided what we're planting and where we're planting it, then we have to come up with a plan for seed starting, because as I said, Minnesota, we have a short growing season. We want to make sure that our plants are ready to get in the ground when the season starts, because our last frost isn't until June 11th. So we just have to be ready. And that's why most people in Minnesota, you buy a plant already about this size from the stores, because you just don't have time, unless you start them indoors from seed first. So that's what we're going to do. So now we have a plan of what seeds we need to start first and start indoors, and what's going in the greenhouse, because obviously we can get those in before the ground plants. So if you want to talk about...
Yeah, so last year we planted our lettuce and cauliflower and broccoli and cabbage too late. Those are types of plants that like cooler weather. So this year we're starting those first. Those are going to be the first things we put in our seed trays to start inside the house. Then after that, we're gonna go with the peppers. So we're gonna actually start our herbs in hydroponics inside early, probably this next month, February.
Yep, we have our potting seed starting mix all ready to go. I've got my trays, so we're bringing in some of our shelving, and we have grow lights, and we have heating pads or whatever heat pads to help germinate faster. So we'll show you that setup in the next video. But I don't know, maybe if you guys could write in or give us if there's anything part of our plan here that you think could use improvement. We're newbies, we don't really know what we're doing in a lot of this. I'd appreciate any tips or tricks or comments that you might have. So one thing that I kind of wanted to touch base on, and I'll show you the process when we get to it. I do have a video if you want to look back on hydroponic planting. Last year was the first year of me trying it. I started half of my seeds in rock wool, half of them in dirt. I noticed right away that the Rockwell seeds just didn't do as well as the dirt seeds, so I made the decision to just start everything in dirt this year, and I actually got rid of my Rockwell because for one reason, something that I found is I couldn't really tell when the Rockwell was wet really or dry, and a lot of the seeds got too dry. I think with the heat lamps too, they kind of dry out faster than the dirt. I don't know. And then when the seed did start to grow, it grows into the Rockwell, so then you have to transfer the Rockwell into your net pots. So anyway, I decided not to use Rockwell at all this year. I'm going to put everything in dirt, and I'll show you that process. It's very simple to transfer them once they get started into the hydroponic totes and into the medium that helps them grow. So and we'll show you how to do the nutrients and all of that. It's very simple. If we can do this, anybody can. We're hoping to encourage those who maybe have thought about hydroponic gardening but haven't, you know, really thought that they could do it. I do want to expand maybe next year on that if we've got some more areas set up to do it. But yeah, it's a learning process. So thanks for watching our garden planning. We're excited about all this. We don't know how it's going to go. If you have any ideas, suggestions, or tips, let us know. One of the viewers wrote in and told us for our chickens to try this spray. I don't know how to say it. Vetricin Plus. So we applied that to our roosters' frostbite combs, and we're going to give you an update on that and to let you know how they're doing. We're also going to talk about, we decided the next farm animal, the next animal for our homestead that we're going to get is rabbits. So
yeah, so I'm going to start building a building to house the rabbits in. So we'll put the cages, the wire cages, in that building. So that's one thing I'll be doing and showing you.
Yeah, and Kevin's going to be building some raised beds for our garden, getting all of those ready. We have to make a plan. We're going to also bring on some turkeys. We have to decide where we're going to put those. And so a lot of things happening in the next few videos. I'll show you some hydroponic plant, or how to get started on seeds, and how I prep for hydroponic planting, hydroponic gardening. Thanks for watching, and be sure to give us a thumbs up and like our video if you like it. Share it with your friends, share it on all your social media, please, and be sure to subscribe. There's no cost to doing that. It just does give you a reminder whenever we post a new video. So thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, so two different types. The Shyagia. No, I'm not saying that. All right. And then, are you done?
Stop it. Sorry. Oh, God. I got the giggles now. Okay. Yeah, I did the green.
Oh, come on.
Oh, shoot. You say it.
Herbs.
No. Herbs.
Okay, so we're gonna actually start our.
See? That's what happens.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're gonna actually start our herbs early. You know, that was perfect.
Oh.
Now I gotta do it all over again.